This particular bottle is bottle number 127. Too much ethanol on that, for my liking.
Yes, there were some good things about it, but also things lacking as well.
We're gonna review this, score it out of 10, let you know what we think at the end. Oh, this is so cool.
Welcome back, guys, to the Craft Whiskey Boys Quarantine Edition with Solly and Jay.
How you doing, folks? We are doing a review of Blantons. I've been wanting to try this forever. I've never tried Blantons.
I've also never tried it.
Hand on my heart, but I tell you what, it's an interesting one. We're gonna review this, score it out of 10, let you know what we think at the end. We are gonna keep our social distancing. We're wearing gloves. We got some bloody, whatever you call it. The world has gone goddamn crazy.
The great thing about Blanton'S is I've never tried it, you've never tried it, but even fans of Blanton'S have never tried some of these as well. And Jay's gonna explain what I mean by that.
I'm pretty certain that everyone that's watching this has tried a Blantons has never tried this Blantons. Why? Because Blantons is very, very unique in the fact that when they started out, his name was it Colonel Blanton? What was his name?
Colonel Blanton, he owned the distillery where Blanton'S is made now. In the 40s or in the 50s, I believe.
Yeah, and was his name Robert, or what was his name? Robert T. Blanton or something?
Colonel Blanton.
We'll roll with Curlin for now. So basically what he did was, when it was distilled, he was very unique and different to any other American whiskey at the time, in that he would select the barrel.
But I'll stop you there.
Go ahead.
So this whiskey, actually, this brand came about in 1984, and the master distiller was Elmer T. Lee, and he named the brand after Blanton. So Blanton actually had nothing to do with this whiskey. He just owned it during the time that Elmer was maybe a youngster. So Blanton's owned it in the 50s. Elmer was there, and then Elmer was master distiller in the 80s, which is when they came up with this brand.
Yeah, but
so he went back to that time for inspiration for the name.
Yeah, but also it wasn't just that.
Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm going to correct you right here. I think you might be. I was under the impression that Mr. Colonel Blanton, when they released it back then, he would go and taste a barrel and they say, okay, we're going to go single barrel bottling, and that's the barrel we're going to go with, and he would pick the barrels and then they'd roll. Now I don't know whether that's true or not.
Maybe that's
and then
right.
He's followed on. I could be wrong.
Guys, correct us in the comments below. This is part of the fun. They do something that I really love in the whiskey industry. Each cask is unique, and when you get big brands, for consistency, they usually make a huge batch and they blend it all together so it all tastes the same. So something that comes from a single barrel is very, very unique, and that's what I love about whiskey.
Yeah, single barrel bourbon, single barrel anything. I love single barrels because they're all so complex and unique and different in their own ways. And there is a whole skill and craftsmanship, as Solly said, into taking all those and blending them into the same whiskey time after time after time. You take the guys down at Middleton that are blending the Redbreast, and time after time it tastes so similar, but they're blending. It's not easy to do. But what's great about this is that it's just, this particular bottle is bottle number 127, which doesn't really matter what bottle number it is. What matters
Cask number is
the cask, the barrel it came from
1944.
was 1944. It was stored in Warehouse H on Rick number 25, individually selected and filtered, bottled by hand at 93% proof, which is 46.5%. So it's not chill filtered, I'm pretty certain. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So what we do know is that it is above 2 years old, but it was, the bourbon was dumped in 2018, in August 2018, but it doesn't say the age anywhere.
So that means it's over 2 years old, because I believe legally, if it's below 2, you have to put it on the bottle. But
yeah, well, actually it's over 4, because if it can be called straight bourbon if it's over 2, but then they would have to put the age in the bottle up until 4. Once it's over 4, they don't have to put the age in the bottle. So it's over 4 years old, but how old, I don't know. But we will find out by tasting it. I'm sure we'll know a little bit about it. So let's crank her open, eh? Oh, this is so cool. What a great little bad boy this is.
So 2 minutes, guys. No cuts, no edits.
That's right, you know the score. Let's bring in Alper and let's make that shit official. So the thing about this one is every barrel's obviously different. Every tasting profile for this is going to be.
I'm getting a bit of caramel in the nose, but also like some muskiness. What is that muskiness? It's like, I wanted to say charcoal, but that sounds like a horrible way to describe it.
But it is like a charcoal.
It's like a nice charcoal.
Yeah, it's like a honeyed charcoal. It's a little bit sharp on the proof. What is it at 46? It's a little bit of too much ethanol on that, for my liking.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's at 46%. That's a bit odd. I was expecting that to be far smoother.
I didn't get it until I actually swallowed it though. That's the Turkish tea glass, the joy of it.
Yeah, so the Turkish tea glass picks up no ethanol.
Creep up on you.
Yeah, you get no ethanol in the Turkish tea glass until you taste it.
It's not ethanol until the finish. Nice caramel taste to it, quite sweet. Definitely sweet as the first taste you get on the tongue.
Yeah, there's like a clovey cardamom coming across. After a couple of drops of water, opens her up. It's really pleasant.
It's very dry mouth.
But it is dry mouth. It's like, and dry mouth, no, to explain what dry mouth, we don't have a lot of time because we only got 2 minutes, but dry mouth normally comes from young barrels. And when I say young barrels, what I mean by that is that the tree was felled and it was yard seasoned for a shorter period of time. Normally, I'm not saying that that's the case with this, but that's normally why you get tannins, which gives you dry mouth. If you drink a red wine, you get tannic across the tongue and it dries it all up. That comes from tannins, that comes from grapes, i.e. mostly in the stalk, but a lot in the grape and the grape seed. In whiskey, it comes from the oak. And the oak, if it's young, it's green, that's fine, then I'm ruining the fucking 2-minute review by telling all that shit.
Green banana on the finish there as well.
So the touch, I'll give you my score in a sec, but the touch on the last piece that I was saying, barrels are so important. The longer you yard season, and what yard season means is you basically cut the tree, you fell it, you cut it into staves, and you stick the staves out in the yard, and you leave them in the garden, wherever you want to call it. It's called the yard, right? And you leave them out there, a year, 2 years, 3 years. The longer you can, the rain beats on it, the sun dries it out, the rain beats on it, the snow hits it, and all these tannins leach out. Lignin gets a little bit stronger, it gets more vanilla, more caramel. There's a lot more things that happen to that wood. The problem is that some bourbon brands, and I don't know if these guys do it, and I'm not saying that they do, I know that the likes of Jack Daniels definitely does it in Jim Beam, where they'll only yard season for 3 months and then they'll just kill and dry it and use it. That creates a lot of tannin, a lot of dryness. If you ever drank a Jack and Coke, you'll think you're getting a dry mouth and gritty teeth, that dry teeth thing from the Coke. It's not. It's from the Jack Daniels because there's a lot of tannin in there. There's a bit of tannin here. It's nowhere near a Jack Daniels or a Jim Beam type tannin. It's not even close to that, but there's a little bit of it there. So what are we scoring this whiskey, Saul?
Okay, so this is tough.
It is tough for Blanton'S, by the way. This is going to be tough for you guys because every batch of whiskey you do is going to be different. It's not all going to be the same. So we're basing it on this particular whiskey, barrel number 1944 from Rick number 25, Warehouse H.
Yeah, so for me it's a 6.7. There were some good things about it, but also things lacking as well. Also, it was a little bit too dry in the mouthfeel, and I'm a fan of dry. I love dry wines. I like, I don't like sweet things too much, but it didn't really resonate with me on that one. So 6.7, but I really like the idea and the brand as well.
Yeah, would I buy it again and use this as a sipping whiskey after experiencing that? The answer would be no. I would try some of their other types, other expressions, but I wouldn't go for this again. I'm at a 6.4, just because I felt it was too dry, too much tannin in it. It was lacking in a couple places. The ethanol felt high versus the amount of alcohol that was actually in the bottle. It wasn't the best bourbon I've ever tried. I know there's a lot of fans out there that are gonna be pissed off when they hear this, but you have to understand that every bottle, essentially, or at least every 200 bottles are different. 6.6 is the official score for Blanton'S bourbon from Kentucky.
Not Blanton'S bourbon in general though, just Blanton'S bourbon 1944 cask.
1944 cask, yeah.
So don't let that put you off. And also, 6.6 is not a bad score.
Not at all.
It's above average.
It's a bloody good score. As we said, anything above 5 is a good whiskey. It starts getting into the 6s. It's a nice sipping whiskey. It gets up into the 7s. It's exceptional. It's a good whiskey.
So let us know what you think, guys, in the comments below, and like and subscribe as well. And if you want us to review any other Blanton'S casks that you know that are maybe better than this, then just comment below.
Yeah, would love to. I'd love to try something and give this a great score, but this one just didn't do it for me as what I thought it was going to be, knowing how cool the brand is.
Oh man. Peace, peace, peace.